Hello friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kaylee and this is Foodie Friday. Before we get into this week's recipe, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. All right friends, we are on to week 4 of my 10-week Summer Sunner series, and this week I am bringing you something sweet. So we're going to be making homemade s'mores bars, and these things are amazing. It's Independence Day weekend, so I figured what would be a fun dessert you can make with the entire family. And for some reason, when I think of the 4th of July, I always think of bonfires, being at the beach with my family, that kind of stuff. And one of our favorite treats to make around a campfire is, you guessed it, s'mores. So we're going to be making some s'mores bars. These you can take to any backyard barbecue. You can take them and enjoy them around the campfire, but it's a special twist on the classic American campfire dessert, s'mores. As always, I've created this recipe with healthier ingredients that you can feel good about eating. This recipe is paleo-friendly, gluten-free, dairy-free, and vegan compliant. I've included some vegan swaps in the description box below, so be sure to check that out for the full recipe. You guys know I like to keep the intro short and sweet, so without further ado, let's get to baking. All right, friends, we're going to be starting off with our marshmallow layer first because this takes the longest to make. So we're going to be using 2 packets of gelatin. These are 0.25 ounces each and 4 tablespoons of water. We're going to whisk this together until combined, and then we're going to set this mixture aside until later. So once you have your gelatin and water combined, set aside. This is going to gel up over time, and then we're going to add 1 cup of raw honey to a medium saucepan over medium-high heat. Once you have all of your honey in your saucepan, we're going to be adding 1/2 cup of filtered water at room temperature. Once you have both of these ingredients in your saucepan, we're going to add some salt, just about a pinch, and then we'll whisk this together. We're going to be heating this mixture to a gentle boil. You'll see in just a moment what that means. If you have a candy thermometer, stick this in your pot and allow this mixture to heat until 240 degrees Fahrenheit. If not, just boil it like so, and then remove from the heat immediately, adding our gelatin mixture that we created earlier, and we're going to mix this until that little gelatin lump gets completely dissolved or combined into our honey and water mixture. Once this is all melted and everything is smooth and mixed together, this will be very liquidy like water. We're going to pour into a stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, just a large bowl, and we're going to whisk this for about 5 to 8 minutes or until a fluffy white marshmallowy mixture occurs. But while that is whipping up, you'll want to grease an 8x8 baking dish with some coconut oil, and you're also going to want to line this with parchment paper. Trust me, you will want as much non-stick as you can get into this pan as possible. And then once you have your parchment paper down, we're going to be adding some tapioca flour to keep the marshmallow from sticking to the parchment paper. This gets super sticky, and so you'll want to do all 3 of those steps. Once we have a delicious, fluffy marshmallow mixture, we're going to put this in our 8x8 baking dish and smooth it out. We're going to allow this to set for 4 hours at room temperature. Do not cover this up because it needs to get air into it to allow these marshmallows to set. So we're basically making one gigantic layer of marshmallow. If you're not a fan of marshmallows, I would highly recommend maybe cutting this in half so that way you have a thinner marshmallow layer. Then you can save the rest for later. One thing I would like to note, that if you do plan on cutting the marshmallow whip in half and only using half for the layer of your s'mores bars, I would suggest taking another 8x8 baking dish and pouring the other half in there and allowing it to set. You can use this as marshmallows, anything like that, but if you want to use it as like a marshmallow whip, it will solidify over time. So I would highly suggest just putting it into another 8x8 baking dish that has been well greased and everything. Allow them to set, and then you can slice them up into little marshmallows and use them for regular s'mores or anything like that. One final note that I would like to make on this part of the recipe is that if you are vegan and you would like to make this recipe, you can get all of the vegan swaps in the description box below under the link that I've provided for the blog post for this recipe. If you would like to just make this easier on yourself, or you are vegan, you can always swap out for regular marshmallows. That's fine. I'm allergic to cornstarch, and I know corn is not a part of the paleo diet, so that's why we're making our own homemade marshmallows here. To be quite honest, if you've never made homemade marshmallows, this is a super fun activity to do. Definitely one to do with your kids. It's really fun, kind of messy, and a really great way to learn how to make something new. So I would highly suggest trying this the first time, but if you are in a pinch for time or you're vegan, you can definitely swap out for regular marshmallows. While our marshmallows are setting, we can go ahead and make our graham cracker layer. We're going to start by combining our dry ingredients, which is 1 cup of almond flour. We also have 1/4 cup of tapioca flour. We have 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. Like I said before, I've noted all different swaps for different flours, vegan swaps, things like that, in the description box below, so you can get full recipe details there. But once we whisk all of our dry ingredients together, we'll add our wet ingredients. We have 1 egg room temperature. If you're vegan, you can swap this out for a flax egg. And then we have 1 1/2 tablespoon of pure maple syrup. And then we also have some melted coconut oil. We're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of coconut oil melted, and then we will mix this together. This is going to make more of like a cake batter, sticky, wet consistency, because we're not going to be making actual graham crackers. We're going to just be making a graham cracker layer. So this is going to be more cake-like. It's going to be really soft and fluffy. It's delicious. So once we have all that combined, we're going to put this into an 8x8 baking dish lined with parchment paper. I would highly suggest lining your baking dish with parchment paper. You guys know I've had many epic fails on here when baking because I was too lazy to put down some parchment paper. So typically I grease any of my baking dishes with some coconut oil, and then I stick some parchment paper in there. It keeps the parchment paper down. And then once I pour my batter into this baking dish, I'm going to just smooth it out into one even layer with my rubber spatula. And then I'll pop this in my oven at 375 degrees and cook for 13 to 15 minutes. Now we're moving on to my favorite layer of a s'mores, and that's chocolate. Do me a favor, pause this video and comment below what your favorite layer is in a s'more. To make our chocolate, we're going to be adding 1 1/2 cups of dairy-free semi-sweet chocolate chips to a mixing cup, and then we're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and 2 tablespoons of coconut cream. Coconut cream is really simple. If you get a can of full-fat coconut milk, stick it in the fridge, it will separate the coconut water from the coconut cream, and you're going to scoop out 2 tablespoons of that. We're just going to be heating this up in 1-minute intervals in our microwave until the chocolate chips are well melted. So once you have all of that smooth, dreamy, creamy chocolate, we're going to put this on top of our cooked graham cracker layer, and we're going to smooth this out. So it's fine if your graham cracker layer has just come out of the oven and you add this, it really doesn't matter, but just put your chocolate layer on top, and then once you have your chocolate layer smoothed evenly, we're going to take those marshmallows after they've set for 4 hours, separate them from the parchment paper. This takes some time and patience. I would highly suggest taking more of that tapioca flour, sprinkling it on top of your marshmallows, and then flipping it over to another piece of parchment paper and just carefully peeling back that parchment paper. It takes a little bit of time, some finesse, and some patience, but you can peel that layer back and you will have a perfectly solid, light and fluffy marshmallow to stick on top of your chocolate. Once you've freed your marshmallow from the parchment paper, we're going to pick it up, lightly give it a shake, and knock off any of that excess tapioca starch, and then we will place this on top of our chocolate layer. Please note that your chocolate layer is still melted. You'll want this to be melted so that way that marshmallow sticks and everything combines into one solid bar. So once you have your marshmallow stuck, you kind of give it a nice little pat gently. We will stick this in our refrigerator for 2 hours or until that chocolate layer sets. Once everything has set for 2 hours and everything is solidified and stuck together, we're going to pop our bars in our oven on broil and make them nice toasty golden brown. So this should only take about 1 minute, so pop those bars in and you should have a gorgeous toasty marshmallow on top. As you can see, I test tasted those s'mores bars after I made them. They are heavenly. 10 out of 10 would recommend heating it up in your microwave slightly before enjoying it. It gets super gooey and delicious, just like a regular classic s'more. That pretty much covers everything in this week's Foodie Friday episode. There will not be a Foodie Friday next week because I will be at the beach on vacation with my family, nor will I be posting a vlog. So if you would like more frequent updates or when I'm going to be changing my YouTube schedule, you can always follow me on Instagram at MeasureMeWhole for more frequent life dates. I'm in my stories there, so you can kind of walk with me through my day. And I also post post healthy recipes on there as well. I'm also currently on TikTok, so you can always follow me there as well. You can get all of my social media platforms as well as my blog below in the description box. If you enjoyed this week's video, please give it a like. I always appreciate it. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you're new to the Measure Me Whole community, be sure to drop a comment below so I can say hi and get to know you better. Also, I love reading your comments, so if you ever have any suggestions on recipes that you would like me to try to healthify, be sure to leave that in the comments below as well. All right, friends, I look forward to getting together next time where we cook another nutritious and delicious dish. All right, you guys, see you later.